All right, this video is going to be about how you can isolate and do your pelvic tilt so that you are actually tilting and articulating within the pelvis without compensating and bringing in the rest of your spinal column and moving up into your thoracic area, which is your rib cage area. So a lot of times when people hear pelvic tilts, they think cat cow. So they start doing like some version of this. And if you look at my pelvis, there's not a whole lot of movement actually happening. It's very tiny. And the largest part of the movement is kind of happening within this range. So if you're reading somewhere, if somebody's telling you, especially if you're pregnant and you're hearing you should do pelvic tilts to prepare for labor, you actually want to be tilting the pelvis and not hinging at your diaphragm. So I like to use a foam roller. This is a 6-inch roller. You can modify if you need to with the most common household roller is a 10-inch. This is a lot softer as well, much more softer than your traditional foam roller that someone would be using to like roll out their IT band or something like that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of get it in the center of your pelvis and it's up against the wall. And you just get used to the foam roller. What's it feel like to be rolling your pelvis back and forth over the edge of this foam roller? And you'll see my whole body is moving while I do this. I'm just kind of trusting. I'm trusting that I can lean into it. The wall's not going anywhere. The foam roller's not going anywhere. And then when you're ready to do your pelvic tilts, your focus isn't on moving the pelvis. Your focus is on isolating and not moving your rib cage. So I'm not going into a cat-cow movement while using a roller against the wall. I'm standing up nice and straight. And I like to put my hands on my rib cage just so I can feel what my ribs are doing. And you're only moving the pelvis. So it's going to be a much smaller movement, because there's a lengthening and a shortening that's happening in both the front and the back of the lower torso. You can see right in here that I'm shortening as I'm tucking my tailbone under, and then as I'm lifting my pelvis back, it's lengthening in the front and it's shortening in the back, but it's not at the expense of bringing in all this accessory. We're not doing some big grand movement. This is about creating mobility and that anatomy that attaches to your pelvis. So then all this anatomy that's attaching to the pelvis, that's where the lengthening and the shortening is happening so that you can get full range of motion out of that anatomy without compensating and thinking that you're getting a big pelvic tilt, where if I go back to this again, look what happens. The majority of the movement is happening up here. It's not happening in the pelvis versus me not moving, and the pelvis itself is doing the pelvic tilt. So this is a pelvic tilt. This is cat-cow. All right, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave it down in the comments.